I met my husband when I was working at a bar at his hometown in Hampton, Iowa. We went on a date and we got married 2 weeks later. And we were married for 46 years after that. And he passed away November 16th, 2017. He worked at Osceola Foods for 20 years. He was getting where he, hired the yard done, he hired the snow removal, and when we moved with Kading, I told him that, you wouldn't have to do any of that. He said that wouldn't be big enough. Then he got kind of mad at me because I went ahead, I took it, and I gave him a key and I said, "Here, go look." And so he went in and looked and he says, "Well, my God, I am impressed."
We're a town of about 5,000 people, but we have over 4,000 non-farm jobs. And so, as you can imagine, there's probably 2,500 to 3,000 people a day who come here to work who don't live here. So housing is important to us. Housing that's A, affordable, but B, something you want to live in. When we have an investor like the Kading family who are willing to invest in a town like ours, I can't tell you how valuable that is.
Kading started as a construction company in the mid-70s. My dad built the first rental property with his own money. He dug pools on the side, invested all of his own money because the bank would not give him a loan, and proved that he could build property and manage them. And he was able to go in and get loans for the properties, and Kading Properties was born. My dad has always really liked that working class, middle class family, and Iowa's in such need of workforce housing right now. Everything is vibrant, is growing, and employers know that the likelihood of them retaining their employee is 10 times greater if their employee works and lives in the community. And if we can't provide that, it's going to be really hard for these companies to grow.
A couple of years ago, they built 44 townhomes, and then they followed that with 40 single-family homes. There's 190 front doors in Osceola that belong to Kading Properties. And small towns are sometimes their own worst enemy because, they just think, well, it's not happened here, so it won't happen here. And then when they found out what they were going to rent for, they said, well, they just won't rent. But they did, and they were full from right after they were finished. As they were getting finished, there was a waiting list developing.
Workforce housing is extremely hard to get up and running. It's just not as profitable. You really have to be willing to settle for a smaller profit margin. It's just been kind of our sweet spot. I think for us, it's a little bit personal. The math starts at their paycheck, and if you can't make the housing work with what their paycheck is that they bring home, then the housing can't work.
The thing is, if people live here, then they spend their paycheck here. And so when they spend their paycheck here, then there's a ripple effect. That adds jobs in the retail side, that adds sales tax revenue.
You can, on average, see at least 2.5 people for every front door. And that's 2.5 people shopping, that's 2.5 people eating. And we know that $1 recycles instantly into 3 within the same day. That's a lot of dollars spent.
My free time is going through the Amazon, shopping on Amazon or any other place I can find to see what I can decorate differently or how I can decorate differently. The single house is no different than any other house. You have plenty of room. You could have 4, 5 kids in this house. It's big enough. You have room outside. You can have your patio furniture. You can put up decorations.
Our investment doesn't end at the end of construction. When we receive that permit of occupancy, that's really the beginning of our life cycle with the city, because we build to stay in the community. We don't leave. We're partners till the end of time.
We made a promise to these communities to maintain and manage these communities. We have weekly site walks with our site specialists. We'll walk the entire site by foot. We'll look at siding, we'll look at foundations, we'll look at paint, just every little thing, gutters, garage doors, see if there's any dents, to maintain our properties the best way possible.
You know, probably the best thing though about the properties from, you know, when I'm visiting that I can see is the community inside the community. Everyone working together amongst the properties to, you know, just to make life work.
I moved here simply to be around extra people, because you never know, getting older, you know, if I would need help or anything.
We run background checks on every single person that comes through our door. If they're 18 or over, even if it's a child, we want them to stay and make Kading their home.
We're just there for our residents. It's a different product. The product that we bring to the table is meant to fit in and feel a part of the community. We like to blend in with our communities.
And as a community, we did the usual things with them. We did tax abatements. There was some infrastructure that needed to happen out there where the 40 single-family homes were, so the city invested in that, and Kading's invested in that together.
With community participation and support financially in the project, we're able to provide a lot better product at the end of the day. Better facade, functionality overall. We have the land development company, we have the construction company, and the property management company. And having all three of those, they can work together. And the community has the say in what the product looks like with their initial investment. Whether that's TIF or tax abatement or a developer's agreement, they do have a say in what the project looks like, feels like, and how it functions. And the more dollars or help that they're willing to give the project, the better off the project is going to be and feel.
The thing about Kading's is that they understand the market, they're not afraid of the market, and they come in and do it. And they do what they tell you they're going to do. There's no, you know, none of this, oh, they said they were going to, but they didn't. They always do what they say they're going to do. And for a town our size, that's a big deal.
They have been so nice to me, and they've been very good as far as kind of like a family, friends, you know. I mean, I feel like I could call them about anything if I wanted to.
It's great. It gives you a sense of pride and accomplishment being able to drive by our communities and just take pride and say, that's mine. You know, just proud to serve these communities and our residents and say that we're part of the Kading team.
It's a place to call home, and they wouldn't have the opportunity without this workforce housing, and they wouldn't have a front door to call home.